Alright, so this is how you get your inline kilometers production rather than what's flown. So here in QGIS, I just plotted these as if it were your mag data that you collected. And what you're going to receive from me is here, let me toggle this off. Just toggle this off like that. What you're going to receive from me is a file called split extended flight lines and split extended tie lines. The reason why it's split extended is because normally the flight lines go all the way from one end to the other. And same with the, the tie lines. But in order to fly them, they need to be split up first and extended. So um, these flight lines, this right here is what I call a strip, and it's basically what you can fly with the drone in one flight. So the drone starts at takeoff location 2, flies out there, comes back and lands. And so um, the these long flight lines need to be split up, and they also need to be extended. So for instance, AR here, you might be able to tell that there's a little bit of overlap. I'm going to change the color of AR. This just means A right, A left. I'm going to change the color here so you can see that this white line extends over the yellow line here, right? So they're split along the tie lines here, and they're extended uh, past the tie lines so that they overlap. That's what split extended means, and that's production. So we charge for that little bit of overlap there. And so this split extended flight lines is just one file that's already has the split and the extension in them already. So for instance, if I click left click here, there's this select features by polygon thing. If I left click, right click, you'll see that these yellow lines are highlighted. So these are flight lines that could have been flown. And in this case, if we're going for if you flew these ones, that means these lines are the ones that you flew. So we're going to select them instead. To unselect, you press this button, deselect from all layers with the little cancel button. And then we're going to just left click here, left click here, left click here, right click here, and then you can see it's highlighted in yellow. The flight lines themselves are highlighted in yellow. It goes all the way up to here, and then even though there's turns here, it doesn't count that. It might look like it's a little bit dull here. That's just because there's like another flight line right on top of it, but the yellow line extends all the way to here, and same with this. The yellow line extends all the way up to there. And so now that you have your line selected, there's like this copy feature, and one thing to understand is that each file has a bunch of features in it. So if you click this open attribute table button up here, you can see all of the features of that file. So for instance, 0 is, I'm gonna do this like that. So 0 is, let's see here, 1. Yeah, so you can see down here these lines are being highlighted as I go through them. So all it's doing is we're just selecting one of those features and we're gonna paste it into a different shapefile layer. So let's create a new shapefile layer. This has worked best for me in the past. Basically, what you do is you go into new shapefile layer. You select where you're going to save it. I'm going to call it flown lines 24th to get the date. Flown lines. See, I've already been messing with this a little bit. 24th flown lines. Do I already have it somewhere? No. Okay, that should be good. 24th flown lines. Geometry type, set it to line string because it's lines, and set the CRS, the coordinate reference system, to the same as the project, which should be the UTM zone 326 followed by the UTM zone, which is 21 here. And so that looks good. I'm going to create this new layer. Right now it's empty, so if I hide everything else, you'll see there's nothing there. It's just an empty shapefile layer, and we're going to add the features to it. So I'm just going to make sure that these features are still selected. So I'm clicking on that and pressing copy again. I'm going to go to flow lines. Very important that you have to edit it, otherwise you won't be able to paste it. So I just pasted it here. It says 24 features were pasted. That's good. I'm going to save it here, save the edits, and I'm going to stop editing. So then if we hide everything else, we can see these yellow lines are still here. And also I'm going to unselect them. So you can see there's these pink lines that have stayed behind afterwards. And these pink lines are the ones that we copied over, and they're the ones that we're going to be using as to calculate our line length, our flown inline kilometers of production. So now that we have 24th flown lines, and another cool thing is that you can add tie lines to this. So let's say you flew some tie lines that day. You can do the same thing where you make sure it's selected here on the left, have this button selected to select left click, left click, left click, right click. So they're highlighted in yellow. You'd press copy here, edit, paste, and now unselect so that you can see that they're part of these lines. But I'm not gonna add these tie lines. I'm gonna remove them. So the way you do that is you can save. You can go to select again, and then you could just delete them. Yeah, delete selected. And I'm also gonna delete this one. Delete selected, save, good. And just to double check that we got all of them. That looks good. Yeah, okay. So now that you have the flown lines, 24th flown lines, this file is saved, so you can come back to it later if you ever need to. Then to get the actual lines out of it, you go to your processing toolbox. The way you get that is you click this gear up here, and then you sum line lengths like that. Now some line lengths needs a polygon and the lines that you're calculating. So the polygon, in this case, I'm just going to surround it with a new one. So this new temporary scratch layer, polygon, just going to create a new temporary layer that I can use just to surround it. This creates a new one, same as before, left click, left click, left click, left click, right click to save it. That it's missing that little line there, so I'm going to click this button to edit it, add a new point, throw it over there, save it, and I'm going to put the normal lines on top of it just so I can see them better. I'm also going to make them white so I can see them better. And so now you can select this new scratch layer as your input polygon and 24th flown lines. Now the reason why you can't run it on this, for instance, is because it's going to assume that you're cutting the line right here, and that's how it's going to calculate it. It's going to include all of these if you're running it on this layer. And it's kind of annoying to cleanly get this area out when you're like you have to really pay attention to how you're making the polygon, whereas here you just copy paste the lines and you just make a polygon that just surrounds it, and then you're good to go. So it's just easier to do it this way, where you create a new layer that of the lines that you flew that day, you save it, and then you have it for later if you need to show anyone your progress or anything. You could just say, hey, look, these are the lines we flew that day. Anyway, so now we're good to run it. So I run it. It creates a new temporary polygon. And then you click this button, Open Attribute Table. And here you can see it's in meters because our coordinate reference system is UTM, meaning meters, usually. So yeah, Attribute Table, that's the number of meters that you flew. So that's 36 kilometers, 37 inline kilometers. And it also gives you the number of lines that you flew. Another downside to trying to make the polygon around here is that you have overlap between different features, and it's going to count certain things twice if you try to do it this way. it's going to count like the overlap from, you know, this line and from the other line if you try to do it that way. But this is nice and pure, 24 lines flown, and you know, basically 37 inline kilometers. So you save that number wherever you want, um, and send it wherever you need to. And then I usually just get rid of these two polygons here, and if I ever need it again, it's really easy to get it again. I make a new scratch temporary layer. That's a polygon. I don't even have to worry about its name. Create a new polygon, surround it, right click, save, move it below just so you can see that it's not covering anything up. Some line lengths, new scratch layer, make sure that's correct, 24th flown lines, run, close, attribute table, right? Yeah, so that's how you get your line lengths. Alright, I'll show you one more time quickly without any of the explanation, and I'll just kind of name the buttons as I click them. So click the layer that we're interested in, make sure that it's select features by polygon. You left click to add more vertices, right click to save. Yellow lines are the lines that we're using. You copy them. We're going to create a new shapefile layer. We're going to save it. I'm going to call it 25th flown lines. We're going to save it. Make sure it's line string. Make sure it's same as the project meters. Now it's saved here. Edit it. Paste the lines into it. Save it. Stop editing. Hide your old lines. Unselect the lines. Now you can see that the lines were saved here correctly. Now we're going to get the line lengths from that day's flown lines. Some line lengths needs a polygon. Use temporary layer, polygon, okay. Add to that new temporary scratch layer. Left click, left click, left click, right click. Save. New scratch layer. Run. Close. Line length. Attribute table. There's your line length. Okay.